Hey Kerbal Space Friends, how's everybody doing? Right here, and here we go. Plane Fight Club, week 1. So this is the last one that I showed and the last one I had built when the last video was published. Let me show you our contender crafts for today, as well as the stuff that I've built since then. So based on Inter's question about if there's a minimum size, if there's, unfairly maneuverable, I tried to do that. I tried to make something minimal size and unfairly maneuverable, and it worked out pretty good. This thing isn't invincible, but I did have to tweak it using his advice on the gun range. Well, not this one, but the planes that fought against it so that they would beat it. If a plane has a gun range standard, which is like 2 kilometers, it switches the guns and relies on guns too much. So I'd have, a plane 5 times bigger than this thing, with a full rack of missiles under each wings, spinning and turning, trying to get guns on this thing, when it should have just been loosing missiles at it left and right and getting kills. So yes, reducing the gun range is a very good idea, especially if you have missile-heavy craft, or if your opponents are very small and very maneuverable and you want to be chucking missiles at them all the time. So what you guys might notice about this thing is it has no control surfaces. It has the wings and it has the rudders just to keep it flying, but it steers on the control wheels. And that allows it to do a lot of weird maneuvers that wouldn't be possible otherwise. Like it sometimes just starts spinning in a flat spin, almost in the same spot in the air. Kind of almost like hovering off of the wings. It's weird. I don't know how it does that, but it does. And then just starts firing from an almost stationary position up in the air. It's pretty unfair. So if little designs like this do start to take over because they're too prevalent, I might make a condition that you can have micro little crafts like this, but they have to have control surfaces. They can't just be control wheel driven like this one is. So after that, I made this one. This one has one of my favorite wing designs that I've made in a while. So there's a delta wing with a swept wing, all the control surfaces it can take, but the tail is actually a split tail that comes off of the wing itself. So it has that long wing section with the rudder in the back. It has an additional fin here to give it some more stability, and then the canards here are inside, and I can just move this out if I want to, for example, make a double engine. Now this particular craft is a little underpowered. I'm finding that these things give a lot of power and speed, but they don't give a lot of torque, and not having the afterburner of the Panther is a huge disadvantage. So I'm kind of leaning towards just Panthers in future designs. Also, since I was building this one after having a really hard time shooting down Drone 6, it has a spread of 8 machine guns, so it has a very nice fan of fire, and is able to shoot down the Drone 6s. So I kept messing around with small craft, so I made a double Juno one. This one is big enough to carry missiles, and this one does have control surfaces on only one wheel. So something like this would be perfectly acceptable by all means. Something like 6 might be a little cheaty, I don't know. This one's okay, it's not that great. 6 will shoot the crap out of this one. And then I made 9. Now 9 is kind of the medium sized. It's not quite as small as 6 and 8, but it's not a full size plane like the other ones. I was trying to make a very triangular and aerodynamic wing, which I think I accomplished, but also not make it too big and heavy, so it only has the 2 gas tanks. And I had originally just put 1 pair of Junos, but it was underpowered, so I put 2 Junos, so it was now 4. And it still felt a little underpowered, so I put that 5th one there at the end, and that sort of did the trick. This is a pretty good plane. Medium sized, not cheaty at all. 4 machine guns, and the condense rack that I use on smaller planes, which is 2 sidewinders and 1 AMRAAM. Alright, so that's what I've been making. Let's look at our contenders for today. So, Inter sent me some planes, and they are really nice. Thank you much, Inter, as always. So here's his main fighter. It has ECM, radar jamming. It has 2 AMRAAMs, and 4 AMRAAMs and 4 sidewinders. This one does have the capability to attack ground targets because it does have a Maverick and the targeting sight. I don't know, maybe that's a disadvantage, maybe it isn't, because it is a little extra weight that it's not going to use because it's going to be a dogfight. Now here's a really cool idea. He has the maintenance bay thing with the probe core and all the electronics inside there, so they're kind of shielded. It's a good idea. This thing has a nice configuration of intakes. I really like it. I think it's great. This is definitely the one that we're going to fight this week because it's the more pure fighter of the ones that he made. Then the second craft he provided me is this. So this is a drone. This one does have radar. Still has the jamming like the last one does. Has airbags, which makes it more maneuverable. Has a ton of chaff and flare launchers, which is great. And as you notice, there's not a lot of exterior weapons, but in the bay, there's one of those rotary things with a ton of AMRAAMs. So this one has a bunch of AMRAAMs, which is great. They're probably the better missile. I like the intake placement on this thing too. And I think it's cool how it has just aerodynamics on one and the radar cone on the other. Looks very functional. It kind of reminds me of the old TIE bombers from Star Wars where they had like just a cylinder with stuff on one side and the cockpit on the other. I mean, it reminds me loosely of it. Nothing else looks like it. I also like fuel wings. Fuel wings are one of my favorite things to use too. He's removed the oxidizer, of course. So yeah, very nice. I'm not going to fight this one, but I'm glad he provided it to me. And if I ever do a mixed thing, like I have one... I think I'm always going to do 2-on-2 battles. There's a lot of very good suggestions on how to configure it from Jolly Rogers. You know, he'll tell me things like, fly them up to a certain height and leave them on standby and then unstandby them. Also, set the engagement ceiling higher so that they climb up higher before they start fighting, things like that. These are great suggestions. Thank you very much for making them. But I think it's going to be very hard to have the planes in the air circling without giving one team a clear advantage. One's going to be behind the other in some aspect, or one's going to be already flying faster than the other. So I'd rather have them start on the ground, take off, and fight. Alright, so let's continue. After this, he sent the bomber version of it. So this one has, well, it's not really a bomber, it's a ground attack version is what I should say. It has the harm missiles, which are the ones that take out radar emplacements. And it has a bay full of Mavericks. Beautiful, beautiful. Of course, has the targeting. It still has a single gun, so that's great. Love it. And sent me this thing, which he calls an asymmetrical bomber, which is good. I like the wing design a lot. Has panthers, has a lot of controlled surfaces. I like inverted wings and things like that. I try to do that whenever I can. This one has bombers and bombs and Mavericks. It has the targeting thing, it has the jamming. Very nice. And last is what I believe he described as a plane without swept wings. This just has the angular wings. Kind of reminds me of an A-10 Warthog or a Thunderbolt, depending on where you've seen it. This one's also sort of a mixed bag of weapons. It has bombs, it has Mavericks, it has ground sighting, and it has a bunch of sidewinders and 2 high-mounted guns. These are kind of like, I don't know, like Second World War plane mounted. It must look really cool from the cockpit, which he actually did mention in the email. So it looks like a A-10 combined with an old Corsair. I don't know, it's really nice. Another one that I might consider putting tandem. So I might do his main fighter first, and then for a later video, this one with the AMRAAMs in the bay. Something like that, maybe. I don't know. Now, he also did send me a very compact little turret. So I suppose you can drop these places and they will shoot down planes for us. Very nice with the AMRAAMs. I guess he does need the AMRAAMs because it's so small. I've mounted something like this on a tank, but I used the Pack 3s, which are deadly. But yeah, I see with something this small, you probably want to keep the weight down so it doesn't topple over. Yeah, very cool. Thank you very much, sir. Alright, so without further ado, let's get to the actual fight. This intro is taking about 10 minutes, so yeah, I've still got another 10-15. Like I said, I don't normally make it to half an hour in my videos. I don't like it. I don't like them to be that long. But let's see how this works. Alright, so we have on the runway, in the fighting configuration as I decided on before, 2 of my drone 4s. These are the one with that weird compound wing with the canards in the front. They each carry 4 AMRAAMs and 6 sidewinders, as well as have 4 of machine guns with an offset firing pattern. These I just put them on the tool. I don't remember what it's called. I keep forgetting the one that lets you rotate things, the rotating tool. And on smooth control, just rotated them out and up one so that there's a spread of fire. This was very useful in shooting down drone 6s once I got it configured right. And then here's the enter. If you notice, I modified it. Not in any of the design aspects, but the hotkeys, because I used one to set off the autopilot, and he'd set one to turn on and off the engines, so I undid that change. Other than that, everything about it is exactly as Inter designed it. So for fairness, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set off one of Inter's, set off 2 of mine, and then set off the other one of Inter's. So his first plane has a lead into the air, then mine kind of go up together and his comes last. This will make it a little more fair, and of course, since we're doing a best of 5, next round I'll set off one of mine, both of his, and then one of mine, and that way we can keep it fair. So let's quick save this now, and alright, so here we go. Okay, so let's follow Inter's first. And let the fighting begin. So his seem to be lighter with about the same amount of thrust. So they're getting altitude faster. Mine haven't spun yet. His already have. And away goes an AIM-9. We'll probably see another missile come from that one. Yep, there goes an AIM-120. That one dodged it. He's evading for dear life. This guy's got an AIM-120 on him. This is going to be bad. Boom. Alright. One of mine are down, and both of Inter's are now chasing him. This is happened a couple of times. This aircraft was actually targeted and evading a missile from his friend. The Sidewinders just tend to follow whatever. In one of the test videos that I did before this, I actually had one of my drones hit his buddy with his own Sidewinder. Uh-oh, there goes an AIM-120. And he's targeting a Sidewinder. This is looking bad. Boom! 2-0. Oh, he's doing a barrel roll, you show off. Alright, so round 1 goes to Inter's crafts. This time we're going to set him off differently. We're going to set off one of mine, both of his, and then the last one of mine. So, here we go. Round 2 starts now. This time I'm going to follow my second one. Let's see what happens. Funny thing about that last fight, it was all decided with missiles. I didn't see any gunfire. Alright, so he's already dispensing chaff for dear life. That guy's heading the wrong way. If that aims on him... Oh, no, it's not. Okay, good. He fired at him. 9. Let's see if it hits. This guy's down. Okay. There's Inter's plate that just evaded the first one of mine. Ah, there we go. Some gunfire. I didn't see any of this last time. Oh, they're both on you, sir. Flares and chaff are going everywhere. And the machine gun fire. Oh no. Another 2-0. Wow. These things are wiping the floor with mine. Okay, here comes round 3. Okay, so I'm gonna set off one of Inter's, both of mine, and then the last one, like we did the first round. So here we go, round 3. We're gonna follow his second one this time. The reason why I was checking that is I'm surprised by how great his design is. It's beating the crap out of mine, and it has weight and other things that it isn't using, because the AI isn't turning on the jammer, and it has all that ground weapon and targeting thing, so it has what could be considered dead weight on it. Come on, dodge it, dodge it, dodge it, dodge it. Nope. Alright, so the first one just went down. Now it's a 2-on-1. This is what I was talking about before. He's targeting his friend. Okay, there you go. Okay, finally, one of my guys got a kill. Alright, so now it's a 1-on-1. He fired an aim 9 and is dodging one himself. Let's see what happens. Not the head-to-head. Ah, nuts. How'd you lose that? You have more guns. You gotta admire how hard they keep trying to fight. And boom. So a 2-0, a quick 2-0, and a 2-1. Game, set, match, enter. Well done, dude. Well done. So I have to go back to the drawing board on a couple of my models, and I think I see a couple of the mistakes I've made. One of the things that I noticed is his plane, even though it has the same power source as mine does, his are all the way in the back, which means his thrust vectoring gives it more maneuverability. I went more on the side of stability, but I think this AI is pretty good at not losing control. And these planes are so overpowered that they can just power out of any spins. So putting the 2 engines in the back is a good idea. I'm going to do that. And then I also, even though his have a lot of dead weight on them, I'm going to cut down some of my dead weight, because mine have a lot of intakes and wings over more wings. I think I'm going to make a more stripped down, lighter version, and be better prepared for next one. So let me take over this thing and land it victoriously. I actually haven't flown this thing manually before. This is the first time I'm going to do this. And it happens to be when I'm coming in to land. Ooh, it does tend to wave up and down like you saw it doing when it was taking off. Okay. There we go. The winner is Inter, what was it called? Number 4? Yep. So Inter's Jet Fighter number 4 is this week's Fight Club winner. Congrats, sir. And for the rest of you, please go ahead and email me those craft and we'll go ahead and fight them. And for now, I got some work to do on some of my designs. You know, got to get a couple wins in there. But for now, thank you guys very much for watching, and remember to fly safe.